This was the editorial that had come in yesterday's newspaper. Okay, a very very important article, but not everything is important. I'll simplify the article for you all. It is bit scattered. Like the basic article is all about cause, effect, and the solution. Okay, but they have mixed it completely. I'll just decode it for you all. But if you don't understand anything, you can ask. So, firstly, we look at how it really happened. Okay, China was the country which was growing at double digit for almost a decade, and that is, and to think that India, being a fourth largest economy, I think it is fourth now, a fourth largest economy, and to India had to have done it only once. Think how big the Chinese economy is. Okay, it is more than double or triple of the size of Indian economy. But right now, China is experiencing three important economic conditions. That is, it is experiencing middle income trap. Sorry, it is experiencing deflation. It is experiencing growth without development. Okay, so these are the things that are happening. And also considering China. Okay, please, whenever you read about China, you have to understand one thing, that China is a communist country. So the Chinese economy and the Chinese politics is completely intertwined. They both work together. It is just a political economy. It is not even a political politics and economics. It is completely different than how it is in India. Okay, in India you don't have regulatory system. Uh, right now the regulations are very very free. Okay, so the business here is happening very well. So that is the one thing that you have to remember whenever you are reading about China. Uh, Again, looking at what the article said, the article starts with Wen Jinbao's warning, where he had said that the Chinese economic growth was unstable, uncoordinated, and unsustainable. Unsustainable in the sense that the Chinese economy was growing, but there was no development. And you all know the difference between growth and development. Fine. So here, Wen Jinbao, who was previously the premier of China, he had expressed his warning, and then following that year only, the global economy had a meltdown. 2008 was a very very hard year for the globe. The word trade as well, the word GDP had come down drastically, but still China was growing in double digit at that point of time as well. Why? Because China started investing in infrastructures. It started investing heavily in railways, highways, energy, and construction sector. Okay, mainly why did this was to increase the consumption. I mean, China had a huge population at that time, so to increase the consumption, this step was taken, but still it did not address social security problems. Okay, there was regional inequality, the consumption was still very low. Then when we look at the next phase, that is the leadership dependency on economic prosperity. Again, China is a communist country. Communism always believes that the needs, okay, the needs should be equally distributed. Whatever the fruits of labor are, they should be distributed equally. They talk more about equity. Okay, so this again pressurized the economy to economic systems to provide more for people, to provide economic prosperity without providing for social security. Then challenges changed when Xi Jinping became the premier. Fine. So when he became the premier, this philosophy of growth, okay, of growth with prosperity, with economic prosperity, was not helping China. Because what happened is, even as I've told, even though the production was increasing, but there was still low consumption. Okay, as well as the social problems were still rising. So when Xi Jinping assumed power, he had come to know that this type of system won't work for much longer. Right? So what he did was he changed the system, and he brought in something called as balanced and sustainable economy. Right? He said that from now on, there will be more focus on social problems. The Chinese economy will be producing those only those products which will help in solving the social security issues. Then also one more important fact that led to the downfall of the Chinese economy was the Guangxi system, okay, also known as the lack of regulatory oversight. So under Guangxi system, the loans were given to personal networks and relationships, and because of this, there was a lot of loan default. Okay, we had one loan default example, that is Everglade issue. Everglade issue, it happened. Everglade issue, it happened during the 2020 and 23. Basically, what happened is that housing sector had taken huge loans from the Chinese national banks, and they started building the houses, but there was no people to get those houses. Okay, the consumption, again, the booking, the consumption of those houses was very very less. So this again created a huge bubble in the housing sector, and the bubble burst last year itself. Okay, so we have this as well. Then these are the causes. Okay, these are the as I've told, these are the causes. Now what are the effects? Okay, what are the effects that are taking place under Chinese economy? Again, Xi Jinping era and the new normal. So as I've told, when Xi Jinping came to power, he changed the focus of the economy from export and infrastructure to quality of life issues, and also acknowledged changing people expectations. Now the people were not expecting huge infrastructures or anything, they were expecting quality of life. Okay, so that is why Xi Jinping has changed the perspective of economy in China. Secondly, there are challenges in labor market. Okay, one of the issues that was given about was a suicide issue that happened in China. And if I don't know if you'll remember, they started installing nets in these houses to provide suicides. Okay, so again, challenges in labor market is happening because, see, it is the same in India as well. The graduation, okay, the rate of graduation in India, the growth of graduates in India is more than what the labor market demands. Okay, and because of this, the Chinese government has also is advising their children to not to graduate very early and to take up side courses. Okay, to have skill development. So again, this is the changes in labor market. Rising labor cost and overproduction, as I've explained, this happened in housing sector. Then challenges despite reforms. Fine, even though this are happening, there are reforms happening, quick reforms happening in Chinese market. Still, there are two problems happening again. See, why India does not adopt communism, why India has never adopted socialism, is because of this only. Why? Because if state will produce much more than what the market needs, whereas when you look at capitalism, capitalism produces only that much needed for the market. So when you have overproduction, there is less consumption as well, because the rates fall, and there is inflation that may happen. Okay, the supply and demand may not match. I mean, these are the basic problems that China is facing, even though reforms are happening there. So we saw the cause, we saw the effect. Now we look way forward what China can do. China can again, okay, because China is a political economy, China can use the power of politics to influence its economy, and it can, realizing how big a problem China is facing, China can change the approach. Secondly, disorder expansion of capital. This again, Xi Jinping has addressed this issue, and has made the regulatory system more efficient. So for now, China is being taking care of this problem. Then control over capital and innovation. See, again, what happening is that the market is not allowed to play the huge role here. Still, China believing that we are the communism is good for their country. So this again is having a lot of regulatory problems with the private sector. Then government interventions, even though it is happening, like for example, they are tightening the convertibility of Chinese currency. Okay, this happens, the tightening of convertibility of Chinese currency happens when there is appreciation of the currency. Okay, appreciation happens when the exports fall, and right now exports are falling in China. Okay, when depreciation happens, the export will rise. So this is one of the issue, again, that is being addressed by China. Saving and security measures. The Chinese population is the population which saves, and now that the Chinese government is focusing more on social security schemes, China needs money, and it is drawing the money from the common citizens. So this is not going down well with the population, as general population as well. Policies such as common prosperity and dual circulation. Common prosperity here means that equity, and dual circulation means that once you increase the production, consumption will also rise. Okay, these are the beliefs that China economy possesses for the last 10-15 years, and now it is not working. Then factors contributing to economic slowdown. Again, external factors like the US China trade war, then zero COVID policy. Again, these are also have been contributing to the Chinese economic slowdown. And again, the government is addressing this issue. The Chinese government has completely taken back the zero COVID policy. China was under COVID policy until last year, I feel, and you all know what happens to economy when there is COVID policy. Especially the zero COVID policy introduced by China was very very harsh. Right? So again, government is taking a step back there as well. The investors are holding on to their money. So you all know, you have read this. Whenever there is crisis, whenever the investors feel that the market is going down, the investors, they don't give out their cash. They hold on to their money. So this again is a cause of concern which China has to address. Okay.